want to join Senator Blumenthal in saying how proud I am to stand with all of you, but how ashamed I am and disheartened that we stand here together again. Last night, I had to rearrange my schedule, so my wife was in my daughter Eleanor's room. She's 13, Penelope is 11. They were cleaning up the room and putting away some children's books that we didn't need anymore. And so I went in and I said to Liz, I've got to get to Hartford in the morning, so unfortunately you need to drive Sasha to camp. He's my son, he's 8. And they could tell that something was wrong, that I had to get to Hartford to be here with all of you. And so Penelope, who's 11, asked, "What's wrong, Bob?" And so I explained, and I stopped for a second because I wondered if I should explain. How do you explain, right? You try to find the words to explain to your 11-year-old and your 13-year-old that 34 people were lost in El Paso and in Ohio to domestic terrorism, to hate. And Eleanor's response was, "Again?" That's the response of my 13-year-old. Again. My kids 13, 11, and 8 are the children of this crisis. Like the children in Sandy Hook, and they are growing up in a world riven by hate and division and white nationalism and racism. And this is what happens. This is what happens when you impose a Muslim ban. This is what happens when you separate children from their families. This is the product of hate and cruelty. This is what happens when you declare a false national emergency to build a vanity project, a border wall that the United States Congress has said, you shall not build. This is what happens when you call immigrants, people like my parents, vermin, animals. You say they're coming here as an invasion, an infestation. This is what happens when you give comfort to racism and hate and violence in Charlottesville, Virginia. And this is what happens when you tell 4 members of the United States House of Representatives to go back to where you came from. And when we heard about roundups and mass arrests by ICE and mass deportations, this is what we were afraid of.